Hello and welcome to PS4 O'Clock, a new weekly show dedicated to all things PlayStation 4 related. My name's Leon Hurley and this week I'll be talking about digital rights management with Meeks. Okay, so PS4 DRM. I am here with Meeks.
Hello.
Now there's been DRM as, well, I should say digital rights management has sort of picked up in the news recently after Xbox One's kind of, well, reveal. They don't seem to have made it very clear, but the implication seems to be that second-hand games will be blocked out unless you pay a fee, more or less the same as the price of the game.
Yeah, it seems to be very muddled, the messages that are coming out from the Xbox camp. I know Phil Harrison kind of tried to clear it up, but I think it's still somewhat muddied waters.
Yeah.
But in response...
the crucial thing is, the PlayStation side of it. People
yes.
have mounted like a pressure group, basically.
Yes, so a lot of people went on Twitter with the hashtag #NoDRM PS4, just saying, please, don't put these barriers on purchasing second-hand games with kind of online ownership. And various Sony bigwigs came out not really directly assuaging fears in any one direction, but coming out and saying, we love our fans.
It was
we
very
love
well
to see the passion, and
yeah, it's very
and
well
also,
done.
I suppose it was one of them was SEA producer Nick Accordino, who said, humbled by the outpouring of passionate PlayStation fans and their willingness to talk to us directly. Please note, and I think this is the key bit.
Yeah.
We hear you, which is
that's the nearest thing anyone said to kind of we are listening to you, because up until now,
Yes.
basically they've all kind of gone, we love our fans, love us back, but no one's actually said anything about DRM. But yeah, that implies that they are taking on board what people are saying, which is we don't want to pay for second-hand games.
Well, I know one of the Japanese higher-ups, just in the wake of the PlayStation meeting, essentially, when he was asked about the prospect of second-hand games, kind of alluded to it probably wouldn't lock them out, so...
Well, I've got quotes, because I noticed on the website we had a massive surge in traffic on the Saturday, and I couldn't work out where it's coming from until I went into my analytics and found that Reddit had linked back to a Michael Denny interview I did at the PlayStation 4 launch, and he said something along the lines of, and PlayStation 4 can be enjoyed completely old school without an internet connection. And they'd picked up on this quote and put it into a discussion about DRM and said, I don't think anyone remembered this at the time because there wasn't an outcry about DRM. So we got Michael Denny, who is the vice president of Sony Worldwide Studios, basically saying you don't have to plug your PS4 in to play it. You can play it as a completely old school console, which would imply that maybe they haven't been thinking that much about DRM, because obviously most DRM is built around having an online connection and being able to detect whether the game's been paid for or not.
I think the fear with the Xbox is that it might have to talk to the cloud, once a day, just to verify that you are online and games are okay to play. But it's obviously going to be a massive barrier for people who don't have
I can't imagine it being
internet connections.
But that sort of
do
thing.
those people exist in 2013?
Yeah, there's still plenty, because this is another thing. Sony
who actively buy high-end technology products.
Shuhei Yoshida said in an interview that they never even considered an always online connection because there are so many territories and regions that don't have a good enough online connection to support it. So he said in an interview it's never on the table. There are so many places that can't guarantee an internet connection. There's no point in doing it. So the always online side of it, I think, definitely looks like it isn't as forced as Microsoft have been sort of implying. But it's just whether or not they do what they do in terms of DRM, because the difficulty is that obviously we don't like paying more for stuff, and things like mobile gaming has pushed prices down. But at the same time, games companies have to, they have to make money.
Well, there was some confusion about who would actually, if say there is a premium put on buying second-hand games, who'd actually have to pay the fee. There was a suggestion earlier in the week that, say, it might be the retailer who actually picked up the slack. So it might be Game who have to pay Microsoft for the privilege of selling second-hand games, and then that again gets passed on to the consumer some way down the line. But it looked like that would punish both retailers and consumers alike. So
basically somebody somewhere was going to end up furious.
I mean, if that is actually passed and that becomes the standard for next gen, that will kill off high street retailers in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. And for all we know as well, this could be the generation that transitions to digital download, in which case DRM as we know it will sort of it won't just become mandatory. It'll just be the only way of working. You know, in the same way that you buy a game for your phone, you never think about trying to trade that phone game in.
Mm-hmm.
You just know I bought this game now. It's tied to my phone and any other subsequent devices that use this account. If by the end of PS4's lifespan or during it, it transitions over to just digital download stuff, then DRM will be a mute argument anyway. But I think what's got to be done carefully here is the managing the public kind of outcry, as we've seen with the hashtag. Twitter, Facebook, forums are getting increasingly more powerful now, where if somebody doesn't like something and they capture the public imagination, they've created a furore.
Well, it's the most immediate way. It's the most immediate way to interact with your consumers, isn't it? So I think it will be a massive, massive PR win for Sony if, say, Microsoft do go down the route of very hardline DRM and Sony don't enforce it. I think it'll be a massive PR win for them. So.
I think they are. They're being very, very careful this year. I wouldn't mind betting all these tweets. I mean, we had John Collar was his head of marketing. Hardware marketing, sorry, so it's why I love PlayStation fans. The passion bucket overflows, which sounds a bit nasty, really.
Right in the passion bucket.
Nick Accordinio, as you said, humbled by the outpouring. Scott Rhodes said I love passionate PlayStation fans. I wouldn't mind betting all those tweets were very carefully checked back and
passion.
There were a few email, back and forth with lawyers and superiors and stuff. So how casual can we be? But it still shows that they are making the effort to, as you say, interact and listen to fans. One thing I think that's interesting to mention is that Sony did have a patent, which I covered on a site last year, that was for a DRM system which used radio frequency tags, which I think would be stored in the disc, so that when you put the disc in the machine, it communicated with the RF tag and then tied the disc to the machine. And one of the, I'll say, benefits of that system is because the machine communicates directly to the disc or to the wherever the RF tag is. It doesn't actually need online. I'm guessing you can unlock it if you're online, but even if you're offline, it will then go, okay, that disc, that machine. Because this doesn't mean anything. This is the patent, and we see things being patented all the time, and they never come to fruition. But at least the idea of it has been entertained at one point by Sony. I'm guessing the change in public opinion and what we're seeing with the sort of Twitter back and forth and the public kind of backlash, if they had any ideas like that, they'd probably change their mind.
I think publishers are very acutely aware of how the level of ill feeling among gamers, so I think it's something they have to tread very carefully around.